The Citgo Bassmaster Tour hits legendary Toledo Bend at a tough time. Conditions seem impossible, but the best of the best rise to the occasion. Classic champ Jay Ellis, 13 pounds to qualify. But he was overshadowed by David Wharton, a tour veteran who brings in 15 pounds, 7 ounces to take a 2+ pound lead to the finals. Along with Yellis, Shaw Grigsby is also in the top 10 in the Bush Angler of the Year points, and he flips his way into a second straight Super 6 appearance.
Yes, another big spotted bass.
How awesome is that?
Got fish. I got fish.
It's muddy water that anglers like Takahiro Omori have overcome to make the final day.
I snag in the backside. Come on.
But some fell just short, like Texan Zell Rowland, who's in the top 5 in Bush Angler of the Year points.
I cannot catch one. Cannot.
Just one of those that got off would have got him in.
Gonna have to say goodbye to Zell Rowland.
Since it was impounded in the 1960s, it has had the reputation as a big bass factory. Toledo Bend on the border between Texas and Louisiana will be particularly challenging for our Super 6 contestants, who also include Mike Worm and Jeff Crete. They will all carry their weights from day number 3 and fish for the $100,000 first prize. Quite a contest shaping up. You could say it's 5 anglers chasing one man who's quietly put together an impressive career. 3 wins, 28 top 10s, and 11 classic appearances. David Wharton definitely has the advantage today.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is presented by Bush.
Our boats are loaded up. Our anglers are ready to travel to the launch on Lannan Creek. Again, that's where our Super 6 course is located on Toledo Bend today. They'll each have an hour and 20 minutes in each one of the 6 holes. Takahiro Omori, a guy who feels really comfortable. He's notched a win on Toledo Bend in the past, and David Wharton has probably fished here 1,000 times.
Little cold front coming through. We have a little north wind. Seems like it's different every day, so we just got to adjust.
But the thing is, you know, a lot of guys, I was talking to some of the other guys in the top 6, and they were really thinking that, you know, well, it's going to take a miracle to beat David. But I don't think he will. I think that, I mean, you can see the guy in 6th place win this thing real easy, because there's some big fish in that creek. You know, they're not biting real good. So, you know, who's not to say that one guy could stumble and another guy? I think there could be a 20-pound bag out there today. I really do. The fish are moving up. They're trying to get in the bushes, and when they get in the bushes, and there is water in the bushes now, you know, you catch some big sacs.
Finals day on Toledo Bend, the Citgo Bassmaster Tour at the largest man-made reservoir in the South. Here's the twist. We're only using a small part of the lake today, Lannan Creek. That's where our Super 6 course is. Let's take a look at our Super 6 competitors who will vie for the $100,000 first prize. And there at the top, Jay Ellis, our classic champ. A great day on day number 3, 13 pounds. And that's why I'm glad Jerry McInnes is here today, because I can ask you, Jerry, can David Wharton hang on to that good lead, 15 pounds, 7 ounces?
Well, he is on a streak, boy. Everything he does seems to be right, so that's looking good for him. However, there's going to be 2 or 3 big fish caught. David better catch one of them, or somebody will catch him. As we look at our course here, you can see where we have highlighted the areas in each hole that were used the most last week by our contestants. And then we can pull up some of our catches, and I think it's kind of interesting to see that a lot of the catches came in areas that weren't fished very hard. This area right back in here in hole number 3 was a real hot spot. 4 good fish caught there at the tail end of the day, including the 5-pounder by Jay Ellis. Now, hole number 5 is one of my favorites. It's on the west side of the bridge, so it's not quite as muddy as some of the other holes. It's also very protected. Now, our buddy Jeff Crete is right down this bank at this time.
One of our other Oklahoma anglers said that there are more big bass in Toledo Bend than there are in the whole state of Oklahoma.
Yeah, boy, I don't know if that'll make him very popular in Oklahoma, Tom. You don't want to put a name out there on the...
Yeah.
Hey, before we even got warmed up here, Jeff Crete has already put a little kink in David Wharton's lead. That's a good thing for Jeff.
Let him go, let him go, let him go, let him go. Come on, baby, come on, baby. Yes. Number 1. All right. God, that's fun, man. I've been on a dry spell out here for a while, Trip. So, I do everything I can. I talk to my baits, wear the same underwear, wear them inside out. Whatever's working the day before, I do the same thing again. Absolutely.
Why didn't you tell me that before I agreed to drive you out here? 4 or 5 years ago, we were down at Lake Texoma on the Texas-Oklahoma border. As I recall, you won that event. Same pair of underwear?
Same underwear.
Oh, man.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
But they have been washed. But these underwear have always been good. I've got a pair of red ones that, man, I've never caught a bass in. Every now and then I'll wear them thinking, you know, hey, I got to get these suckers going. You know, if you don't have but maybe 2 pair of underwear that you've caught fish in, pretty soon, you're going to have to make a change one of these days.
Oh, these guys are so good, and they give us so much information. Sometimes, though, it's information that we really don't need, but they will earn their money today. Take a look at Toledo Bend. So muddy. 2 weeks of heavy-duty rains have made it like this, but if you don't think you can catch bass under these conditions, watch our show today. We'll begin the fishing in earnest when we return.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Citgo, by Bush, and by Skeeter.
I'm going back to the same spot I caught a keeper yesterday afternoon, and I had another non-keeper on a spinnerbait. I'm gonna start it right there, and let's see what's happening in the morning.
Takahiro Mori, one of our Super 6 anglers fishing the Citgo Bassmaster Tour event on Toledo Bend Reservoir. He's about to start fishing the first hole of a 6-hole course he'll fish today.
You gotta love this boat control here, George. This is a masterpiece in boat control right there. I got my outboard propeller in the bush I'm trying to flip. Kind of reset the whole program here.
Well, taking a lot of time with the boat handling, we talk about how important it is. It's even more important today on Toledo Bend with all this wind.
And how ironic that he would be kiddingly talking to George, the cameraman, about what a bad job he's doing, when in fact he's one of the better guys out there. Remember the Classic? He did such a great job in that swift water. Well, it is important here, though. Look, that fish came out of maybe a foot of water. His boat's sitting in 2 feet of water.
Got him on that
Everything
tube.
has to be perfect. As a matter of fact, you got to be careful with your trolling motor. Don't hit it too hard. Don't throw a thrust of water on those fish that will scare them out of those bushes.
Let's go over and out to hole number 1, David Wharton.
And we're going to watch him carefully. I want to find out exactly what he's doing differently than the other. Well, he's fishing around yo-yos. Look at that yo-yo.
That's part of it, isn't it? Hole number 1, David Wharton. Let's look at the traffic from yesterday, day number 3. And now look at David Wharton's path as he comes in there.
Yeah, David goes right past all that traffic and fishes on a bank that no one has even fished before.
I don't think he's a keeper, but we'll get him in here and see. He might be. He is going to be a borderline. Oh, yeah. We're on the board. Amazing how little old bass can perk things up, isn't it? Feel a whole lot better now. This little pocket right here looks good, too. There's number 2 right there. There we go. Back around this way, in the boat. All right. Now we're cooking. Look at that Hayes hook, man. That's perfect. That fish would be on there forever.
David Wharton picking up where he left off yesterday. Absolutely no stopping this guy, apparently, at this point in the proceedings. Now, flipping, we've seen flipping in every one of our tournaments so far this year, Jerry, but this is a different deal here on Toledo Bend. This is shallow water that's moved into flooded areas. It's different.
It is the lure and the technique of choice today for these guys. I believe it will win the tournament. And most of the guys use 7-foot rods to do it, use real heavy line, and some of them release the lure like Takahiro's doing right here and actually pitch the bait into the bank. Some of the guys actually catch their lure in their left hand and then throw it with their left hand back in around the bush. Some guys, we'll see Jay Ellis, for instance, actually manipulates the line with his left hand and pulls the lure up to the rod tip and then flips it back in place. And these guys are going to try to hit everything in sight. Don't leave a stump, a brush, a piece of brush, buck brush, nothing. Don't leave anything unflipped. And of course, they're going to drop it to the bottom.
It goes all the way to the bottom.
Yeah, and it'll stay there for seconds. And Takahiro will actually pick his up and swim it for a few feet before he starts it again. And this is about the only thing that can that break their concentration.
I feel good in this place. Yes. Good start.
Good start. You pop the fish in the live well, click it on, and off you go.
And you're ready to go. And a couple more things I'd like to point out before we leave this flipping completely is that they're using half-ounce weights. They get to the bottom very quickly, and they take their hook and bury it. Well, we call it Texas rigging it. They bury it back in the worm. The barb is weedless. They're able to fish in that brush, and very seldom do they ever get hung up.
If it was clear water, we could have had a grand time in here, I think. I mean, it's 55, so this is the warmest water I've seen. It's getting warmer as I go back. I may get lucky here. May get lucky. You know, the hardest thing is assessing a spot. When you pull into a spot, you don't know what's here. So it's like you just have to hunt around. And of course, you can skip over something as minor as this little canal, and all of a sudden you've skipped over a spot that could be loaded with fish. And you know, obviously it's the warmest water I'm going to see today, 55.3 right now, which is huge warm, especially for having 38, 39 degrees outside temperature.
Shaw missed a fish on this bridge last week, hoping for a little better luck today.
Should get one right. Got him. That's the thing. Oh, no! Doggone it. Same spot, everything. That little dude is like, he's tough little spot, I suspect. Right there, I mean, exactly where I had the bite yesterday. Throw a spinnerbait this time, he hammers it, get him halfway out, pulls off.
Little, keep. 30 inches. But I had a measure, but I had 3 bites already.
Just about to wrap up the first period of fishing here. Our angler's about to make the first rotation. When we come back, Jeff Crete will be in one of the better holes, hole number 6. That's all coming up here on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail.
Been doing this all my life, and I still get excited today.
Anglers have moved into the second hole of competition here on Toledo Bend Reservoir on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour event. David Wharton in the lead, and so far today he has extended his lead by a couple of pounds.
There's a little drain coming in right at the back of this little pocket right here that I caught 2 fish out of yesterday, and then I caught the big fish right around the corner from here. So this was a good spot yesterday. I caught 3 fish in here.
So David likes hole number 2. I think he likes the whole course, as a matter of fact. We'll take a look at exactly where he's sitting, about halfway down the pocket there in hole number 2. And we switch over to 6 now. And qualifying Dave, 6 was pretty good. There were several fish caught in this pocket. Jeff Crete is in the back end of it right now.
Oh, my gosh, he came off. That was a big fish, man. God. That's a big one. That's a big old fish. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Yeah. That's a good one, man. That was I mean, that sucker smoked me.
Well, Jeff, that is the downside of fishing in that shallow brush. But Jeff Creed of Oklahoma, an emotional fisherman from what we've seen, and obviously has a personal style. That's what we're interested in.
My name's Jeff Creed. I'm from Ardmore, Oklahoma. This is my 5th year on the tour. I've been fishing Bassmaster, I guess, for about 9 years. I fish real slow. Most of my big wins have been flipping. I'm just not worrying about it. Everything that looks good, I'm flipping it. And, you know, if I need to throw a spinnerbait, I'm throwing a spinnerbait. But primarily, I'm flipping. I think in this deal, it's just kind of a matter of survival. And if you can get 5 bites and put them in the boat, you know, you're gonna be up there.
It's still water temperature, 50 to 55. It's cold. Come off. Is that a keeper? I don't think so. I don't think so. I saw the hairs was not big enough. But you know what? I had 2 bites here.
Now, Jerry, you told us you were going to watch David Wharton, observe, and tell us what he's doing that's different from everyone else.
Tommy, I need 2 more segments.
All right, okay. You can get that.
He is throwing a spinnerbait around out there, and no one else is doing that. And this water is up to 55, 56 degrees now. And when it starts getting warm like that, a bass will chase a bait down. That 50 degree to 53 degrees, he wants to stay in that bush, and that's where those flipping guys get them. But when it warms up like that, bass get very active. As a matter of fact, it is springtime. When it gets that warm, these bass start thinking about making other bass. It's spawning time.
It's a nice, pretty good one there.
Well, there you go, David Wharton threatening to run up the score on these guys. The things are far from over yet. There's a lot of time left. In fact, you can see Jeff Creed right now easing up on Jay Ellis for 2nd place. And one guy we never count out, especially when conditions are tough, is Mike Worm. And Mike, what do you have up your sleeve today? Anything at all?
Well, I'm coming up on my better holes. Number 6, number 1, I think are the best holes. And that's the last 2 for me. And I want it that way. I want it in the afternoon. And hopefully the sun's going to warm things up. But that hadn't happened too much today. But still, 6 and 1 are the best holes, and I'm getting there in the afternoon, and maybe the afternoon bite is producing the whole tournament, so I'm hoping for that.
Well, tell us, what baits are you counting on for the big comeback?
Well, Strike King spinner baits and that Strike King Bitsy Bug has been working pretty well. The watercolors in these holes, though, in the backs, and it's a little dark for that Bitsy Bug to work well, but I'm looking for 6 and number 1 have got the best colored water for that, so I'm really hoping they'll bite it in that.
Well, overall, Mike, you are having such a solid year. Are things just sort of coming together for you this time around?
I think I'm just maybe in tune with them a little bit. I'm able to catch a few fish in every tournament and seem to get a check and place well. It's just I want to get over that hump to that plateau and win one.
All right, thank you, Mike Worm, for your time today. Good luck. And when we say Mike Worm is doing well this year, we're not kidding. Currently 4th in the Bush Angler of the Year statistics. He's not that far behind, definitely a contender. Today on Toledo Bend, though, he is not a contender so far. Takahiro Omori has jumped ahead of him just a little bit. Jeff Creed, as we also mentioned, moving up on Jay Ellis. We will check in on Jay Ellis when we come back. And still, it's early. Anything can happen. Someone's just a big bass away from catching David Wharton. Don't go away.
If I can catch 16 pounds and Wharton zeros, gets a little hurry, gets a little freaky out there, I can win with that. I mean, I feel it. I mean, I think I'm going to win.
Bassmaster Pro Tour event on the Toledo Bend Reservoir. We are running up Lanand Creek. This is where the finals are taking place. All of our 6 anglers are in their appropriate spots. And right now we are slowing down because Chuck Harmon right here, our bass official, has just lost the channel markers. Easy to do out here because of all the timber beds. And remember, it's very dangerous out here. You have to idle through these timber beds. Now, our finalists are dealing with much cooler temperatures today, as well as Lanand Creek has risen yet again. Guys, the challenges just keep on coming.
All right, Kirsten, challenges and opportunities. As you mentioned, with the rising water, we have thousands, literally more acres of shallow water to fish, and that's what the guys are concentrating on.
And, Tommy, I know we've talked about it before, but Toledo Bend offers so many opportunities. Not only small fish and pound fish and 2-pound fish, but 6-pound fish and 7-pound fish. And that water doesn't look that bad to me. The water around Jay's boat is very fishable, I think. And again, I want to say that the water temperature is more important than the water color right now. These fish are cold-blooded creatures. They take on the same temperature as the water around them, and 55 degrees means that they're pretty active.
That's the first short fish I've caught in 2 days on this course.
Jay Ellis, the native of California, now lives in Texas, won many, many times out here on the Bassmaster Tour and achieved one of his goals last year with the Classic win. Jay fished his first Classic in '91, qualified every year since then. The 2002 Classic at Alabama's Lay Lake saw Jay take the lead on the first day. Each of the next 2 days, he gambled that a release of water from the dam would get the big fish biting. That's where he went. The gamble worked. Jay won the Classic on his 12th consecutive appearance.
A lot of responsibility that goes with being the Classic champ. I take it seriously. I'm trying to do a good job for representing my peers, and you know, I've had a lot of opportunities, but boy, I've been running hard and haven't had a day off in a long time. By the end of this year, I'll be ready to go lay on a beach for a week someplace.
You know, we talked to Jay Ellis at length last week on our show about all his duties as Classic champ, the fact he doesn't get to practice or pre-fish much anymore, and he says it's helped this season. He's done better, more consistent this year.
Boy, he needs that big fish today, though, don't he? I predicted earlier somebody was going to catch a 4 or 5 pounder. I think I said 2, maybe. Yeah. Haven't seen it yet. David Wharton, first day of qualifying, Tommy, where was he at?
He was way back there. I know he was 60th place, 50th.
60th place, right on the nose. Then the next day he jumps all the way up into 12th, which is where you had to be to make these finals. So he's had a tremendous improvement every single day, and here he is sitting in the spot where he's the man to beat.
Well, of course, they postponed that second day due to weather. I guess he got his thoughts together and came back strong.
Feeling better all the time. Threw it right up with that little limb, and he just jumped all over it. When you get a bite in here, they're clobbering it, man. That's what you like. They're very aggressive.
You like to be clobbered, Tommy. David is in hole number 3. He's in that pocket that has been so productive for everyone, as a matter of fact, just on the other side of Highway 191.
Oh, stay down there, baby. He's hooked good, I think. Oh, yeah.
David Wharton, you'll notice, just does not miss fish today. He is just almost perfect in his execution. Unlike Jeff Crete, Jeff's having a day sort of like Zell Rowland had on day number 3 of this tournament, where he just couldn't bring any of the fish into the boat.
And David Wharton can do no wrong, can he? We're going to take a look at his hole number 3. And well, first of all, in the last rotation, look at Mike Worm's tracks in that first pocket, the easy one to get to. No fish for Mike Worm. David Wharton follows him right in the same place, picks up a bass there and a bass there on that same bank. He had a beaver and a lab in there bothering him yesterday. So far, it's been kind of quiet, but David, you are absolutely waxing the field. Are you doing anything different?
I've been alternating between a tube bait and a spinner bait, fishing basically the backs of pockets or towards the backs of pockets, just, you know, covering a lot of water, pitching right into the buckbrush. The fish moved up after the lake came up, so just a matter of picking the right watercolor. I think that's a big key of it.
Well, most of our viewers would say it's virtually impossible to catch fish in watercolor like this.
Well, actually, it's clearer than it looks. I mean, this little creek that I'm in here now, yesterday was really muddy, but today it's cleared up real well. I've caught 2 keepers in here a while ago, so this is the hole Bucky Beaver was in, but he's a no-show so far.
Well, okay, you could be considered a native to this area, and I'd like to know what your experience in Lannan Creek is.
Actually, I've lived on Toledo Bend my whole life, or in this area. I grew up fishing this lake. My home is up on the north end of it, where I was born and raised, so, you know, I've fished this lake a lot, but I've never fished Lannan Creek. For some reason, it just never was in my game plan, I guess.
Now, there was talk of, even before the muddy water hit us, that Lannan Creek just wouldn't produce. Man, it's been fantastic, hasn't it?
Yeah, so far it has been. I've got to limit both days out of it. I just need to get me a good bite. And
So behind the bridge, back in hole 3 and 4, the water's always murky back there. The fish are probably used to it.
I think so, especially up here above the bridge where we are right now. This water stays off color most of the time.
The big question when we started the fishing on this championship day, could David Wharton maintain his lead? So far, he's done an excellent job of doing just that.
And I think you have to remember that these guys have got 1 day's experience on this course now, but still they only got an hour and 20 minutes in each one of these holes, and it really takes a lot of nerve to start exploring with your minute and 20. And unless maybe you don't have anything to lose, and maybe someone like Jay or Shaw or someone doesn't have too much to lose.
We'll take a look. David Wharton now with a 7-pound lead over Jay Ellis and the rest of this field. He is looking good. We'll be back as we move into period number 4, hole number 4 of our course for the Super 6.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Chevy Trucks, by Mercury, and by Diamond Cut Jeans.
Welcome back to our Citgo Bassmaster Tour event on Toledo Bend Reservoir. Our 6 finalists are out here on championship day. One of them will win the $100,000 first prize. Jeff Crete of Ardmore, Oklahoma, has had trouble all day long, losing fish, and the trouble continues.
Tommy, that's the second or third fish that could have really made a difference in his total score right now.
Man, that's a nice fish. That fish getting about, he's close to 3 pounds. I'm surprised I lost him, but they're just the problem is the way they're hitting it. I know everybody's thinking, how's he losing those fish? Blah, blah. I mean, I'm telling you, when they bite it, you don't feel them. Your line's just jumping out about 3 feet, and so of course you jerk as soon as you see your line move, but you can't. I don't know. It's different. It really is.
Another bite like that. I know they're here.
We're watching Takahiro right now, but my mind's still on Jeff Crete. And Tommy, I have to say that I don't believe that the fish are always responsible for you missing them. I think you get in a groove, just like you get in a groove of catching them. You can get in a groove of not catching them as well. And we always think that these fish are pointed at us when they strike, when in fact they may be sitting there sideways. Their tail may be pointed at us. And when the strike occurs, you have to immediately turn that fish towards you, especially in the shallow stuff right here. Turn the fish towards you and bring him to the boat. Now, the perfect example right here of a fish that was possibly sideways, and Takahiro set the hook and quickly turned his head towards the boat.
Very good. See? You're gonna get a big bite on this stuff. I just need 3 more just like that. 3 more just like that.
Well, 2 fish for Takahiro Mori. We have to look out for him. Maybe he's getting that feel that you were talking about just then, Jerry.
Well, I hope old Jeff is getting it. He's got the fish turned around right here in the right direction, and I don't believe he's going to have the same problem. Way to go.
Got that one.
Look at there. Got lucky. They're not. I know now it's not my fault. It's the way they're biting it. Because that fish right there come off when I slung him in the boat. It's a pretty nice little keeper there, man. Golly. That's scary, man. That's too scary for me. I can't handle that. Look at that, man. God. I'm just not getting them hooked good at all.
Shaw Grigsby having a great year. Had a good day yesterday and did a lot of his good right around this spot right here, this little bridge that leads out to one of the resorts here.
Yes! Come on, back this way. Come on, baby. Yes! Man, did I have to work hard for you. Oh, my goodness.
Shaw's actually the one fishing these piers now, and he is concentrated in both 1 and 2 on that same bridge. And you know what? It takes the whole hour and 20 minutes to fish him.
Oh, I did get him. I got him now. Come on, come on, come on. Come on. Oh, it's a big fish. It's a big old spot. It took me forever. Well, you can go around that way. You can go this way. Man, where are we gonna go? Come on, no. You know what? I bet you I can just do this. Oh, yes, yes. Number 2. Had him bite a jig, missed him. Had him bite a drop shot, missed him. Caught him. You're done, you're mine, baby. I got me another one. Number 2. I cannot believe that. I sit there and doodled with that fish and doodled with that fish. Lost him on my jig, had to break my jig off. Then lost him on a drop shot, had to retie. I decided to put a Texas rig, drop it down there, shake it a little bit. Eats the same bait again. Now maybe I'm gonna get down there and find out that there's another spot down there. But I can tell you what, the good thing is I have my best hole still to come. Hole number 2.
Well, Mike Worm, we got to talk to him a little bit earlier today, but like Shaw Grigsby, he's just been having problems getting anything started.
And you know what, Jeff Crete may be ready to shoot me for making the comment I made about him missing fish. Mike Worm might not like this statement either, but I think he has really lost his confidence. And do you realize that he is preceding David Wharton into each one of these holes? I don't know what the deal is. David is catching them, and Mike has just lost his mojo, hasn't he? Tell you what, though, just maybe 2 more fish in that next hole, which is a good hole, and he could at least jump up there in maybe 3rd or 4th place.
Well, Mike Worm is on the board with that fish catch right there. And speaking of Worm, let's look at our Bush Angler of the Year statistics. There's Mike right there in 4th place. A couple of the other guys who've had great weeks here at Toledo Bend, Zell Rowland and Jay Ellis also in the top 5. Jim Bitter on top. And Jerry, flipping has been important this week. Last time it was flipping that jig. Now it's the tube. How can there be that much difference between the two?
You know what? They've got confidence in that tube. These guys have suddenly acquired some confidence in flipping a tube, and you call me crazy, Tommy, if you want, but boy, that is a big part to play in fishing. Confidence in your lure. Hey, a week ago, the water wasn't even in this brush, but now it's a foot and a half up in the tops of the brush piles and the buckbrush and so on. And the secret is to drop that tube right here, swim it just a little bit, pick it right back up, and hit the next one. Hit as many of these as you possibly can. Don't let it lay there for over a second or 2. Pick it right back up and swim it. And when you look at the underwater shot of that tube, you can see that, boy, it's got crawfish written all over it. When it drops in front of a fish, in spite of the watercolor, they are going to jump on it. Hit as many of those spots as you possibly can with it.
Well, Jay Ellis is using that tube today, but his confidence is nothing like it was last week.
May not be my turn to win. Might be David's day. The way my day's not going too good. But I still have time. I got 2 holes left. And the last 5 minutes is worth just as much as the first 5 minutes of the day. So I'm going to fish hard to the end, but I don't have the momentum right now. I can feel that. Something needs to change. I know when I got the momentum and when I don't. Right now, I don't have it.
He's still on. It's still on. Come on, baby. God, that was another big one. That was a big one, man. Lord, why? That was a huge fish, man. I mean, that was the biggest one I've had on.
Well, what can we say, Jeff Crete? You could have been a hero right then and there, but as it is so far, David Wharton is our hero on this day of competition. Let's look at the scoreboard. Wharton with 24.5 pounds, but Yellis and Crete just 7 and 8 pounds back, respectively. Jerry McKenna said there would be 2 big fish caught in this tournament. We haven't seen them yet. We've only got 2 more periods to go. We'll be right back.
Final day, championship day on our Citgo Bassmaster Tour event. Here is our leader. He's never won a tour event, plenty of opens, David Wharton.
My name is David Wharton. I'm from Sam Rayburn, Texas, and I've been fishing BASS since 1979. I've lived on this lake my whole life, you know. I've never fished Lanane Creek before. I think it's the only creek on this lake that I've never fished. Lanane is not known as the best creek on the lake. It's somewhat a fickle creek. You catch them one day and the next day you don't. That's the reputation it has anyhow. We'll find out tomorrow, won't we? I guess so. There he is. That's the one right there. Oh, yeah, look at that. Oh, man, yeah. Big fish. That may have just done it right there now. Whew.
Well, David Wharton, he's kind of kept his head down, gone about his business all day long, not too much emotion, but I think now he's starting to get the idea that he could be in the driver's seat in this tournament.
And there's one of the 2 5-pounders that I promised. Yeah,
that's a good one.
You know, I thought for the sake of a good contest, though, David might let Mike Worm or Shaw catch it, but he's going after them all, isn't he?
Absolutely. He's upsizing his fish, and Jay Ellis just seems to keep downsizing him just a little bit here.
I don't think he's a keeper, though. Darn it.
Jay was the man that caught the big fish last week, caught it very, very close to where he's at right now. And you're right, the size of his fish have certainly gone down today. I don't know if it has anything to do with it at all, but I know he was fishing a jig last week, and everybody except Shaw has abandoned the jig, and everyone is flipping tubes.
Come on, fish. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Same
nice
highway,
spot.
Different bridge here for Shaw
Right.
Rigsby, the only guy catching spots. And a lot of people didn't even know there were spots in Toledo Bend.
Well, and not only is he around the bridge piers, but he's got a nice little channel there where a little creek goes back behind the highway there. And again, this is the same little highway going out to those resorts that he was fishing in hole 1. That same bridge is a hole 2.
Oh, yeah. Woo! Yes! Yes! That's a good one, man. Oh, that made a big difference, man. That's a good one. Yes, sir. Man, he hit it light, too.
All right, so David Wharton has got his boat turned around, kind of deja vu. He's going back toward the same tree. One more shot.
Why not, man? He caught a 4-pounder there last week, so that's a hot little bush. It looks like he's into another one right now. Hey, you know what, Tommy? He has not lost a fish all day long. I'm interested to see where this one's hooked at, because it seems like everyone is hooked in the same place. And there you are seeing that is hooked right in the front lip.
Same tree I caught a 4-pounder in yesterday. Oh.
Well, between David and Jeff, that's a little more kissing than we want to see, but guys, we understand the emotion.
Bad part about this having to change holes is I wouldn't leave here, you know, but we got to.
Oh, man, I wouldn't want to leave either. David Wharton, what a spot he is in, what a day he is having. These other guys are just going to have to be miracle workers to catch him, especially as we rotate into the last hole.
Well, of course, I picked him right from the beginning.
Right, yeah, I know that's right.
This is a race for second place, I believe, now,
It's
Tom.
the race.
We're going to take the Corso and pull it up here and spot the fish catches today, and isn't that interesting? Man, look down here, number 3. That cove has been good for 2 straight days now. No fish out of number 4. Number 1 and number 2 have produced very well. As a matter of fact, Takahiro is back here in the back end of 2 as we speak, and he's got a shot at second place.
Yes! Oh. Hey! 2 more like this. He got me so good. All right. Still got time.
Takahiro Omori doing some of his best work of the day here in the last period. There's absolutely no quit in this guy.
My name is Takahiro Omori. I was born in Tokyo, Japan. This is my fourth time I fished here. Every time I made top 10. And you know, first time I came here, there was some raven actually right next to the district, some raven. Then I decided I'm gonna stay at the Lake Fork, which only like 3 hours from here. Fishing is all the same, natural lake. So here I have more experience. So I kind of like know how to get around. So that may be helpful tomorrow. Yes, it's keeper.
A lot happening so fast and furious here in the final minutes, but it may be too little too late, Jerry.
Does seem like everybody's hurrying just a little bit, probably a little bit more than they ought to be. That's one thing you don't want to do right now is start getting ahead of yourself. There's just a certain amount of time left, but boy, fish it carefully, and I think that's what Takahiro's going to do.
Now finally I know what to do. I gotta look for the bushy stuff in the back of the pocket and the kind of clean water.
Well, these guys are only getting 2 days exposure to this creek here, but it's amazing when you watch them how much they learn. Even in the last part of the last day, they're still learning stuff about how to fish it.
Well, you have to remember, Tommy, that anybody can catch bass. Finding bass is what the tough part is. And, of course, Mike Worm looks like he's found a few right here. But in a regular format in a tournament, a guy finds one school of fish, possibly, and goes out and sits on them and wins the tournament, or at least does well. These guys have to find fish on new water and then find them in every single hole to compete. And I think that is the ultimate task for a bass fisherman.
You might make it.
If you go out there, the creek you never fished before, and you only had 80 minutes to fish each hole, and if you figure out like this, I don't, you know, no matter what's happening, if you're not winning, you know, it still feels so good. Yes, number 5. All right. That 5 weigh maybe what, 15 pounds? 14, 15 pounds? You know what? Do we still have time? Yes.
Man, you guys have the easy job. I can just imagine how nice and cozy you two are in the studio. I've been out here all day freezing my tail end up. Thankfully, though, time is up. You just saw Jeff Creetenshaw Grigsby pass on by. They're going to get their boats out of the water and head on over to weigh-in, and that's where I'm going to. It's up next. We'll be back.
The Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail is brought to you by Yamaha, by Citgo, and by Bush.
Just about to wrap up our day here on the Citgo Bassmaster Tour event at Toledo Bend. No sense of mystery as we begin the weigh-in at Cypress Bend Marina, at least as far as our winner goes. But some surprises. How about Takahiro Omori? Came into the Super 6 in the bottom spot, but really had an 11th hour charge, caught 13-1, and moved into second place. Jay Ellis certainly found fish today, but couldn't locate the big ones. But David Warden, all those open division wins and more than $500,000 in winnings, his first victory on the tour was one to savor.
And your champion, David Wharton, weighed 16 pounds at 15 ounces, 16.15. You did it.
Thank you, man.
Here you go. Citgo Bassmasters Tour champion, David Wharton. His 4th victory with the Citgo Bassmasters.
There you have it. Never a doubt for David Wharton. Jerry, you could call it a home field advantage because he lives right there, but hey, he says he's never fished in that creek before.
He was in a zone. I'm telling you, he could do nothing wrong. He could have went to that creek behind your house and caught 12 pounds of bass today.
I don't doubt that for a minute. Our Bush Angler of the Year statistics look in third place. Zell rolling there. He's been keeping up all year long. This week he had a great week on Toledo Bend. Now he's a solid contender in third.
And Jay Yellis made a nice move. He's up into second place. As a matter of fact, you can look 12, 15 anglers deep and see that the field is getting pretty strong.
It'll be a good race for the rest of the year. Jim Bitter still on top. May have lost a point or two this week, but he is solid. Has done great work all year.
And so you take this next week off.
No way. I'm going to Eufaula.
Oh, what a trooper you are. This info just in on Lake Eufaula. Water temperature 52 to 57, kind of high, but falling 6 or 7 inches a day. We hope that stabilizes a little bit. Water off color a little bit. The temperature is warming up a lot, and they are wanting to go to the bank awfully bad. Now, that information comes from Davey. I realize that Davey is way down the Angler of the Year list, but he's due for a good one. He can still make a move.
Had a good tournament on Eufaula last year, Davey. We'll be watching a lot of guys in that tournament. We'll see you next week right there on the Chattahoochee River, the Walter George Reservoir, also known as Eufaula, on the Citgo Bassmaster Tournament Trail.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPNOutdoors.com.